Textiles and Tea with the Handweavers Guild of America. I'm Kathy Group. I'm the advertising manager, and I get to be your host today. We want to thank our sponsor today, Deidre Greer. Thank you, Deidre. It's really nice when we have an individual that does this. Thank you so much for supporting Textiles and Tea. As always, if you have questions, please put them at the end of the session today and put them in the questions and not in the Q&A. We love your comments throughout the program, but if they're in the questions or in the Q&A, I can actually see them better. And I want to make sure I get to everybody's questions if I can. Today, we have Leslie Fesperman. Leslie is a busy woman. She is the founder and director of the Yadkin Valley Fiber Center. She loves to share her passion for the fiber arts through ongoing teaching and programming for weavers. She has woven miles of samples, and she'll talk about that too, and completed the Olds Masters Weavers program, where she researched rags and the history of rag style weaving, which brought about an awareness of the textile industry and worldwide textile waste. In her private practice, Leslie is beginning to explore using natural recycled yarns in weaving. And we are so excited to have you here today, Leslie. Hi.
Hi, well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, good.
Thank you. Yes.
Our first question, which is the most important one, is what is your favorite tea?
What is my favorite tea? Well, I'm more of a hot toddy type of girl. So today I fixed a lemon zinger with a little splash of that good old whiskey and a bit of sweetener, and we're good to go. So
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Well, I knew this program was going to be good today. Now I know it is. This is going to be great. So would you share with us how you got started in fiber?
Well, like a lot of people, I think I started in another area other than weaving. As a child, we had a neighbor, her name was Sandra Sanderford, and her husband was named Sandy. So it was Sandy and Sandra Sanderford. And this was back in the 70s, and they kind of reminded me of Sonny and Cher. I just thought she was the coolest thing. You know, they didn't have kids, just so hip. And she started a craft store. And I guess I was maybe one of her little guinea pigs. She would have me down and she taught me to crochet using that good old Red Heart polyester yarn and making granny squares. And that's really how it started. And from there, I did embroidery and cross stitch and, you know, just started dabbling like a lot of people. And one of my friends, Kay, I was talking to her and said, you know, I've always wanted to weave. And she said, you know, I've got a loom, you can have it. And that's how I started. So I've been weaving ever since. So
well,
that was
thank you, Kay.
Yeah, thank you.
You did the weaving world a favor. So of all the weaving that you do, because you do a lot, you especially when you did the Olds master's program, what is your favorite weave structure, do you think?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I dabble, but a lot of times I do go back to a straight threading. So twills and things like that I would go to. And you see one here in the photograph, a good old color and weave, houndstooth, plain weave. I would like to explore the straight threading on multiple shafts and what you can do with that. I think there's a lot that we can do. So I go back to that in scarves, whatever, rugs, they all seem to lead back to that straight threading.
Well, you're a busy woman, and we're going to, as we go along today, you're all going to know why she's busy. She does a lot. But I was curious, if you had all the time you wanted, all the time you needed, let me put it that way, and there was nothing pressing that you had to get done, what would you weave?
Well, I think we all have a dream project, you know, something that we're gonna do. And my last dream project was a double weave jacket that I did in the master weaving program. And now I envision doing this Turkish coat. So it's a series of panels. I think there's 17 in the pattern that's shown. And we have a small fiber farm. And that's one of our Angora goats. And the samples are below that I've at least started and done some sampling with doing this coat. There was a lady at one of the Complex Weavers conference seminars years ago, and they have an informal fashion show, much like HGA. And she had a Turkish coat on that she had woven and sewn together. And it just was one of those pieces that you always remember. And I thought, one day.
Now, kind of jumping back to our previous question, does it matter what the weave structure is? Is this something where you can do your twill or plain weave or whatever? Or?
You could do it in any structure. It's mainly a set of panels. So they're narrow panels that you sew together. So you could do it in any structure or multiple structures.
Oh, wow. Now I got to find out more. Maybe I'll put that on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And we'll see that at Convergence next, 26 maybe at the fashion show?
Maybe. You had last year.
No pressure.
Yeah, you had somebody that did a coat very similar at Convergence. They had knitted it. It was really remarkable, and it was knitted with those pin loom squares. And this lady brought your pin loom squares to a whole nother level. I just was blown away, and that's a very similar one on there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, these next images are of the Yadkin Valley Fiber Center. And are you in the center right now?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
So not only do we have these pictures, we have what's behind you also. I'm fascinated. What was the catalyst? You know, I don't think you just woke up one day and said, I'm going to work my hardest and make a fiber art center. What was the catalyst that you said, I want to do this? What was the beginning?
It really evolved. It evolved. I had moved to Elkin. We moved here and we have a small fiber farm. And I had started teaching when we lived in the Raleigh-Durham area, and I wanted to continue teaching. And so I needed a space to do that outside of the home. And I started going to the Arts Council in Yadkinville because they had artist studios. And of course, I had to be on the wait list. And so, I'd go down there every month or so, making sure they didn't give it to anybody else. And as I waited, the Fiber Center just kind of grew. We started talking about needs and, why I wanted to teach. And so it wasn't like I just set out to do it. It really evolved out of a passion for wanting to share the craft.
So was the first step, this just can be a place where I can teach?
Yes, I wanted to teach and share the craft, and I needed a studio and a place, in a public setting to do that. And then I just started saying, we have conferences every other year. If you're not a guild member, then it's hard to find classes. And so that was part of, I said, I'd love to have guest instructors and bring people in and have them teach as well. And so it just kind of grew. And instead of getting a small studio space, I got basically a storefront. And we started. And I started, this was back in the day when Jason Collingwood was teaching. I had Jennifer Moore coming in. I got everybody in that I could get in. And I called Olds College and asked them if they would come. And it's been opportunity. People have been very generous and helpful and supportive of the program.
Well, I want to talk more about that, but my first question after this was, what was the best thing that happened in that journey? And then what was the worst thing that happened?
The best and the worst. Well,
I tried to start off positive.
Yeah, start off positive. I do think that the best and the worst is all the people I get to meet. So I have met so many people. Sometimes it's just people are under a lot of stress or it's saying goodbye. And so I've learned so much and had so many opportunities, but I think that the best part of it has been the people and the interactions, not just with me, but what I see when people are taking a class and what happens among the students and how they connect. It's just been, the fiber world is just so welcoming and so sharing and giving, and everybody helps each other. It's a great world to be in. I really feel that way.
But you had some stumbling blocks. I mean, there were problems with buildings and space and,
Yes, we have. We've been affiliated from the very beginning with an arts council. So we were initially affiliated with the Yadkin Arts Council. And then when we moved to Elkin, we became affiliated with the Foothills Arts Council. And part of our world was they helped to provide space. And we moved into a larger building pre-COVID. And then COVID hit. So that was another learning thing. And then last year, unfortunately, there have been some issues with the building in the county. And so we haven't been able to operate there. And that's led to our location here. And every time we've had a hurdle, I feel that the decisions to keep moving forward and do this have just helped us grow and be stronger and say, yes, this is worthwhile. So this is the first time that since it started in 2015, that it's really stood on its own independently. Remember, I'm really proud of that. Yeah, because we've always been, like the Arts Council provided space, and now the Fiber Center is providing its own space, and it's not dependent on those organizations. To be honest, had I had to provide the space during COVID, that would have been a real challenge.
yeah.
Because we had no income. So it's been a wonderful journey. I plan for it to go on for a long time. And you face those challenges, and even though in the moment they seem really strong or hard, you keep going, and when you get there, you're just so much better for it, I think. So I just see them as something that's, in the end, they're positive.
Well, I have to admit that I remember you calling me years ago when you were first getting started, and I don't even know what we were talking about. And I remember thinking, I'm sorry about this, but I remember thinking in the back of my head, good luck. I mean, it's so hard to start a fiber arts center, and it's not like you're in downtown New York. You're in a beautiful part of North Carolina, but it's not exactly densely populated. And you have made a success of it. I think that's just amazing.
Well, thank you. I feel like people have been very supportive and very generous. When we started, now I think it's more a Facebook marketplace, but this was when Craig's was really popular. And I would watch Craigslist to see if looms didn't sell. And then I would approach people and say, would you consider donating your loom? And I had a lot of wonderful people that did. And that helped us get there. People's generosity have helped us become what we are today. It's not been all about me doing it. It's truly been other people being supportive and generous.
Well, one of the things that I was impressed with also is, and I might be jumping the gun here, I know you want to talk about this, but let's jump in here now anyway, okay. Is that you've taken initiative, not just to, I'll teach classes, but first you went after the Olds College to bring their program in. And if you don't mind, would you talk some about what that is for folks who don't know?
So Olds College is in Alberta, Canada, and they have a master weaving and a master spinning program. And it's a progressive way of learning. You take a class, a person class for a week, and then you have assignments and you're marked. And because it's a continuing education school, you get college credit for it. And one of my friends had been in the master spinning program, and we talked at length about it. And so I called up out of the blue and got Zach, who was the programming director at the time, and told him what I wanted to do. And he was like, well, we would love to help you out, but we can't bring our looms to North Carolina. And I said, well, that's no problem. We'll provide that. And so we just started this relationship, and they came, they sent, Jean Curry was our first instructor. And I said, you're a brave woman to come all this way to a little bitty community. And it was a wonderful relationship. COVID kind of ended a lot of things, and that was one of them. It became very difficult to get instructors here with travel. And because of that, a group of us had been talking about the need for a program here. And so the Fiber Center has developed a master weaving program that's comparable to the olds program. It's not the same, but it definitely is a good structured way of learning. So we wanted to continue that.
Now, is it up and running?
It is up and running.
And
We've
how
had,
would people find out about it?
it's on our website, word of mouth. Is how.
So when
Textiles-
I sign up to do this, I go to your website first, right?
Yes.
Okay. Trying to drum up some business for you here. Leslie.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. When you sign up. So we've done, we've had 3 of our level 1 classes and a level 2. In next March, we'll have our first level 3. And there's 5 progressive levels. So it's not for everybody. It's great. Your work is marked. And we do have blind markers. We think that's really important. But it's a very systematic way of learning weaving. So.
Well, good for you.
Well, thanks.
And you get to go to a lovely part of the country.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is pretty. It is pretty here.
It is. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, let me ask you about, do you think you've put so much work into this? Do you think your own artwork has taken a back seat because of all the work you're doing for the Yadkin and the new master's program and that sort of thing?
I do. I think that I most definitely do. I try to weave for an hour every day, but there have been quite a few times where that doesn't happen, especially when we've been moving around and everything. And surprisingly, during COVID, when we had all that time, I just said, I do not want to look back on COVID and say all I did was weave. So that is probably when I did the least amount of weaving, when I had the most time. It just wasn't where I needed to be because it was very upsetting to just all of a sudden not be able to operate the fiber center.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it has. I think it's starting to level out a little bit, which I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more then about the weaving you did do for your master's. What was and I think you choose an area to, I know the COE better than I do the master's, but what were some of the things that you focused in on while you were weaving? Do you get to choose that, or you have to do what they tell you, or?
So for the first 4 sessions is very structured, and that is directed. There's really, you can design your projects, but you have to do it within certain parameters. And the first 4 levels were what they call the artisan level. So you had levels 1 through 4. And at level 4, you received your artisan certification. And if you went through level 5, they called that the master certification for professional development. I kind of always felt like the artisan, you really mastered it by there, and that 5 is more self-focused. So in level 5, you choose a topic and have to present it, and they either approve it or do not. And I had one topic that I wanted to do, and that was rejected. We kind of came to the conclusion that we felt it would be very difficult for me to research. And so I went down and decided that I'd like to research not rug weaving, but rags and their history and the patterns. And so my question was, are we doing the same thing people were doing in the 1850s? Where are we today? So I did a lot of searching about the history and patterns, mainly through old loom manuals. And it's been very interesting. It's been a very, really makes you aware of textile waste. So
there's a great deal of research in it too, as well.
Yes. And level 5, and every session had research. There was a research component in every session.
Okay.
But the 5th level you focus on.
Well, poor Mandy, I'm jumping all over the place and she's trying to keep up with me. So was that rug that we saw earlier, was that part of your master's? It was, here she goes. See, she's good.
Yes,
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you. Yes, that's boxed up on the left is the box going out to Canada to be marked. And that's I had a whole book in there, and then below the rug. So that's a Mary Meg's Atwater pattern. That was in one of the Union Reed, I think it was the Reed Loom Company. She had a section, I guess they had her write it for them on rugs, and that was one of the things that she had in there. So it's a good weft-based color and weave example.
You're standing there, you've donated or dedicated a big chunk of your life to this. You're packing it up, you ship it off. What did you feel? I mean, was it like, yay, or oh my gosh, it's over, or in between, both?
Yeah. I mean, you're sending off all that work, and of course you photograph everything in case something happens, and you've got your paper on, saved. But there was a little bit of a void. I mean, you focus, not only was I working on growing the fiber center, but on the background of that, I'm doing all these assignments and samples for Olds College. And so there was a little bit of void, but Pam Howard and Loretta Tucker and I just quickly replaced that with the master weaving program here. We just got to go writing on it right away. So, there's a void from Olds, but it's different. And, there will be, when we get this one completed, it's like, what am I going to do? I've really enjoyed the growth and learning that both have offered there. So, yeah.
So when you were thinking about doing, and here's your samples from, what possessed you? I mean, why did you say, oh, this is something I want to do? I mean, was it just kind of like, I need to do this for me, or I have something I want to prove, or?
I did it for me. I felt like I needed a structured environment to learn in, and I knew that I had a lot of gaps in my learning, and that I needed that focus. I needed, needed somebody telling me what to, not that they tell you what to do, but it's definitely guided. And so I really needed that. And, it's a sense of accomplishment. We had one assignment that we had to weave to the inch, picks per inch, ends per inch to square. And when I finally got that right, it sat on the counter, and I danced around and said, I was just so proud of myself for getting it right. And so, because there was a lot of figuring out in that. And so there's a sense of accomplishment when you do get it right. And a lot of learning in that.
Yeah, I don't know what how I would feel about that. That is just such a major accomplishment to do that.
And I always say, I'm not that kind of weaver, I mean, I'm not Miss Precision here, and when I teach, I always tell people, well, you're not going to meet the fringe police, if you get 5 threads in one bundle and 4 and 3 in another, it's not the end of the world, don't panic. And, and then all of a sudden I'm in this program, and the fringe police are in that program, so it really, it just teaches you to pay attention, yeah.
Yeah, I would be in that group too. It's 4. Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah.
We have an example of some weaving that you've done. It's just beautiful, and it's got gorgeous colors. It's got great pattern, and so I have to ask you: are you more color or structure?
Well, I love color, and I'm in a color study group. I've been in a color study group for probably, I don't know, almost as long as I've been weaving. I think that when we see something, the first thing we see is color. And color is really personal. So, if it's color you like, you're going to be drawn to it, and then you see the structure. So I would venture to guess that most people, when they saw this photograph, saw the color, and then they recognized that there's some plain weave in there. It's the beginning of a piece. So, but the structure is important. If you don't have the right structure for your intended project, it's a waste of time. I mean, it's not going to serve its purpose. So they're both very important. Aesthetically, I'd say color, but if you get down to in the bones of it, your structure is the most important. Doesn't matter what color it is if it doesn't set the purpose. Maybe I've answered your question, maybe not.
No, that's a good point. It's an excellent point. Do you think when you start doing a project, not that you've been able to do much lately, so maybe think back.
Yeah.
Do you think you go color first? Oh, I love these colors. What can I make with them? Are you thinking, I really want to do, double weave, so I need these colors?
I think when I'm going to do something, the first thing I do is choose my project. Oh, I'm going to weave a scarf. Oh, I'm going to weave a jacket. Oh, I'm weaving a rug. And from there, I choose my color and my structure. How am I going to do it? So that's just how I operate. I just figure out what my project, I'm going to weave a bag, and from there I work back.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people you need to define your project. What is it, and how do you want it to feel? What do you want that project to do? And then I work back with that.
Well, I love your website. There's all kinds of information on your website, but I have to ask because it really struck me that one of the things that you talk about at length is shuttles. Now, I have my own opinion on that, but why did you choose shuttles?
I think that we overlook the importance of shuttles. I think we overlook the importance of winding our bobbins correctly and the way that they flow. And that came about because level 3 at Olds College, we had to choose a topic for an oral presentation. And one of the choices was shuttles. And so I chose shuttles. And also too, I remember Robin Spady had come and taught at the Fiber Center, and she talked about twist and yarn and tension. And I kind of started putting all those things together. We blame our selvages on our hand, but sometimes it's our shuttle or how that bobbin is actually spinning or unspinning when we throw it across the weft. And so I think sometimes we don't recognize it's more to it. It's more to it than throwing that. And the correct shuttle is going to give you a better selvage. You can use an in-feed shuttle, but if you have a yarn that's sticking, it's not going to give you that great selvage like a boat shuttle will. Mm-hmm. And so knowing about the shuttles and knowing their best uses and when to use them, I think is really important. Why do you want that?
I think so many of us, we use the shuttle we have. Either it came with the loom or we found it somewhere, it was on sale. And I agree. And I taught beginner weaving too. And I'm ashamed to say I said very little about shuttles, but I thought that was an interesting, interesting on your website. Yeah. I have a question I wanted to ask you about, because in your introduction, you talked about, let me make sure I'm saying this right, but you want to start using natural recycled yarns in weaving. Can you talk more about that?
So I ordered some yarns. I've shared some of them with my daughter lately, but I ordered some recycled wool yarns out of Germany and some recycled cotton yarns. And I think that, so often we think we need a new yarn or something that's not recycled. And so I think it's important to start exploring some alternative ways to get our fibers and how to use them. And so that's kind of a response from the rag study and becoming very aware of textiles, not to shame myself or anyone else, but, I think about all the yarn and as textile weavers, I mean, we think we're creating things, but we also have a lot of waste and we contribute to that. The other thing that I learned, virgin wool is supposed to be that brand new wool. Why do we have virgin wool? It's because they didn't want us using recycled wool, even in the early 1900s. And so they coined the virgin wool. That's the pure wool. That's the good wool. And I think we still think of it that way. And so I think it's important to, I am glad to see a move towards that. I noticed I just got your shuttle spindle and die pot this afternoon and was looking at that as I was waiting for today. And you've got somebody speaking about recycled materials in one of your seminars. And I think that's great that we're kind of starting to do more of that.
Well, educate me here. When you say recycled wool, is it as basic as somebody took a sweater and undid it? Or is it been reprocessed, or what is recycled wool or cotton?
So the recycled wool I got had been respun, but you could take sweaters apart and take them and reuse them. So recycling would be taking it and shredding it and remaking it. And reusing it would be taking the yarn from a sweater and winding it up. You're not changing it. So you got recycle and reuse. And we use terms interchangeably. But they really are very different if you get down to it. So the recycled cotton came from all kinds of sources, and it's respun and reused.
Okay. If somebody, I know they're already asking about this, if somebody wanted to get some of that wool that you got from Germany, you said?
Yeah.
How would they find that? Is it on your website or?
Well, I haven't been selling it. I mean, I'm not I ordered it through, it's called Remke. If somebody really wants to know about it, I'll send them a link to the company where they can find some.
Okay.
Or help.
So just go to your website and email you?
Yes.
Okay. That was good.
Okay. I mean, I don't
We
sell-
have, I'm sorry, what?
I was going to say, we don't sell. I mean, one of the decisions when we started the fiber center was we were not going to really be retail. I am a shack dealer and I do sell equipment, but that's not our focus. And you can easily have that become a focus when you start selling. So our focus is education. So I don't care. Yes, that's why I might have it, but I don't really sell it, if that makes sense.
Well, I
Is
didn't
that-
know if,
Yeah.
somebody could buy it or they have to have a license, like a business license. Do they have to
Yeah.
buy it wholesale or?
Well, I bought it wholesale because I do
Okay.
have a business license. So, but I can help. If anybody's interested, I'll help you find a source.
Okay. Well, let's go. Last question for me is, what's next for you?
Pardon me?
If you haven't been doing enough, but what is next for you?
That Turkish jacket.
Yeah.
I hope we keep doing more of the same and we keep growing and having people in and just kind of continue to teach and grow the craft of weaving and share it. I mean, I know that's down the road and next for me. A Turkish coat. And then another project, you'll have to have another dream project, right?
But you're still teaching, right?
Yes.
You're not just doing administration, you're still teaching.
Right.
Are
Correct.
you teaching anywhere this summer?
Just at the Fiber Center. But I am going to be teaching at Convergence Double Weave, guys. If anybody wants those basics, come out to Wichita next summer.
Shameless plug right here. Yes,
Right,
you are
shameless
teaching at Convergence and we're very excited to have you there.
I'm excited to be there. You've got several double weave related classes next summer, which is exciting. It's
Yeah,
like,
people just love it. They just cannot get enough of it. And I'm one of them. I love double weave. I love double weave. It's hard for me, but I love double weave. Okay, we've got tons of questions, so we're going to go to questions if that's okay. I've got a bunch too, so we may get to them, we may not. So, of course, Ruth McGregor. Hey, Ruth, you're the first one to ask. Good for you. What is the loom behind you, and can you talk about it?
This is a Mayless. It's a 60-inch Mayless. It's got a fly shuttle, and that might be what's next. We have a group that comes in called Tuesday Weavers, and I want to do some coverlets or a blanket on it. So that might be the next project. Some of the dream projects get put on the back burner.
And it's a Mayless?
Mayless, M-A-I-L-E-S. I think
That's a new one. I have never heard of that.
Yeah, it's an older loom. I got it through Peggy Hart, who wrote about wool.
Right.
It came here via Peggy Hart.
Yay, Peggy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this is from Pam Howard. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, Leslie, you've worked so hard on getting the Yadkin Valley Center going. You have done a great job. There you go. Kudos to you.
Oh, thank you, Pam.
And this is from Sue, sir. Hey, Sue, we haven't heard from you in a long time. I remember how you proudly showed me your first project, an Angora scarf on your little rigid headed loom. Chatham County is very excited for you. Boy, you just got all kinds of fans out here, Leslie.
Oh, well, you know what? She didn't tell you. I hounded her to get that mohair carded. So I spun it and then wove it, and I hounded her. And I had no idea of what it entailed to prepare the fiber. So thank you.
The fiber. All right, Carrie Gordon. Leslie, this is wonderful. Having the space for people to learn and grow in the fiber arts. Does the master weaving class require in-person attendance? I'm assuming she's talking about your new program, and it does, right?
It does. There's a week of in class. You have to come in and do the week of assignments in class, and then you leave and you have up to 10 and a half months to finish the out of class assignments that are marked. And it's a blind marking. So yeah.
Michelle Sonnenfeld. I'm looking forward to hearing about her rag weaving and textile waste recycling yarn. Well, we just talked about that. There you go, Michelle. And Michelle, if you want more information on how to buy that, I hope you heard us say, go to our website and she'll let you know. Renee Bergstrom wants to know about the weaving behind you, the green one over your left shoulder.
The green one is a rag rug that I did. I did that.
Is it really? That's rag?
Yes. The green, the rug, yeah. I did that for Convergence for the yardage exhibit.
Wow.
So that is, and it's log cabin, color and weave. And we had to have it ready to hang, so that's why it's hanging. I'm not going to ever put it on the floor now.
I don't blame you. The yellow on the left looks more interesting.
Can you see it? That one?
Oh, wow. What is that?
That is I don't know if it's still there. That's a tapestry by Joan Griffin. We do every year the Fiber Center hosts Tapestry Weavers South, which is a regional guild of the Southeast. And we have their new work on display June through the end of September. And
so that's part of the exhibit?
Yes, that's part of the exhibit.
Oh, and it's Joan who? Joan
Griffin.
Griffin. Hey, Joan, you're a rock star now. Tapestry South does wonderful things. I'm so glad that you support them.
Yeah, they come here. They have a retreat every year in June. And we usually have a tapestry focused workshop geared for them. And then we have their work on display. And we've been doing it for probably, I don't know, 6 years or more.
Well,
So,
I'm proud to say some of my co-weavers in Chattahoochee are involved in that. And and Tommy Scanlon. There's some nice people in that group. So
yeah, it's a nice group. Yeah, nice group. And then we'll have Small Expressions came last year. And they're going to come back and we'll have it again December through February. And I'm hoping that that's something we can do every year if spaces are available and we can work it out, because it's a great exhibit. And I don't know, the public comes in and they're just amazed at what they see. So it's really, I like having the fiber art on the wall here. It's important, I think.
now, do you teach tapestry there? Do you have someone that comes in and teaches it? Do you teach it?
Betty Hilton Nash comes in and teaches tapestry, and we're talking about doing maybe a one-day basic to get people going so we can have lower numbers. You know, it does come in with numbers sometimes when you get guest instructors. You've got to pay for lodging and meal, everything about their being here. So we're thinking of developing just a very basic one-day class for tapestry beginning, just the basics.
Oh, wow.
And then having like Betty come back in and teach more advanced classes. So she's a wonderful instructor.
Carrie Gordon says, good to hear about the recycling reuse wool. I'm planning to make fabric from one project and weaving it into a rug. Have you posted your shuttle talk on website? That's what's on your website, right? Your talk. Right. You turned it into like a PDF or a document.
Oh yeah, that for the master weaving. That was a presentation that we had to give in class, and so I did. I haven't published it or anything. Most of the materials there on the website.
Okay.
But I do talk about, or didn't talk about on the website, the spinning of the bobbins. You want the yarn to go under and not over. Just little things.
Next summer, while you're at Convergence, there's this thing that goes on in the vendor hall called Thread Talks. Maybe you should come and talk about shuttles at this Thread Talk.
Yeah, that might be a good thing. Yeah.
I know somebody at HGA that handles that. I'll get with her.
You get with her and talk to her about that.
I think it would be a great topic. I think, and people are commenting that, they too have never really explored which one to use and why. So I think that
Let's
would be
do
a great
shuttle-
topic.
Let's do a
We'll
shuttle.
talk. We'll
We'll
talk.
talk. Before your shuttle race, before that shuttle race, which is a hoot
Very
of fun.
This is from MJ Lord. I just wanted to say hi to Leslie and say how much I enjoyed my time at the Fiber Center this summer, and her small farm is just gorgeous. Heaven.
Thank you.
Again, more the fan club.
Yeah, she taught birds, buds, and butterflies before the retreat this year. So she came up and taught the workshop.
Mary Holm wants to know, how many students and teachers do you have at the center and at what levels?
How many students? Well, it depends on the class. Like this weekend, I do a lot of our beginning classes.
Mhm.
And this weekend, we've got 2 rigid huddle classes running at full capacity. Our beginning classes are always very small, 4 to 5 people. We don't do a large class with that. And then our guest instructors, anywhere from 6 to 12 people. And it just depends on the space and the type of workshop. But we always have small classes, 12 or less.
How many looms do you have?
I'll count, hold on. We've got about 15 to 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the Complex Weavers Library I saw in that photograph of the center? Gee,
Yes.
guess who that's from? Karen Dondi wants to know. But you do have their library, right?
Yes, we do have their library.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's another thing. You asked me about the good things that have happened in weaving, and I have found myself doing things I would never be doing them otherwise. Who would ever think that I'd be the librarian for Complex Weavers? But I am, and I feel honored to have the collection here. And it's fun to pull the books.
So if somebody was doing like research and they wanted to explore the library, could they come in and see it and use it?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Good.
If you're a member, you can check books out, but anybody can look at the books on reference here. It's by appointment. So if somebody wants to come, reach out to me to make sure there's not a conflict with scheduling.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
That was a good point. I'm glad she brought
Yeah.
that up. I'd hate to have missed that.
Yeah.
Karen LeBlanc. Hi, Karen. I love the concept of recycled yarn and reusing yarn fiber, but can you also talk about sustainability in your craft, college, and practice? I know sustainability is different for everyone. Now, I'm assuming she means, is that going to be part of the master's program? Will you be talking about sustainability in the master's program?
No, not.
Karen, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we're not focusing on that. The master program is more of a traditional style of weaving. Now, if somebody wanted to use recycled materials, most definitely we would welcome that. I would be delighted, but that's not the focus.
Jean Curry says, hey, Leslie, congratulations. Great to see your face. You brought it all together, and thanks to Dee Dee for sponsoring.
Oh, thank you, Jean. Jean was our first instructor, and she was my instructor 2 of the years that we went through the Master Weaving program.
Really?
Yeah, she let me know what I needed to do.
Is she in Canada?
Yes. She's
okay. Jan French, just a few days left on the Tapestry Weaver South. Any classes this week?
She's welcome to come up here and see it. Just let me know.
Okay. And then probably classes are listed on the website, right?
Right. We have a class this weekend, but not during the week. So.
Deidre Greer, name the website for everyone. I'm assuming she means your website.
Now I've got my Leslie Fesperman, and then the Fiber Center, the Yadkin Valley Fiber Center.org will have all the information about classes and the exhibits and things there.
And it's pretty easy to Google, because I think if you just Google Yadkin Valley Fiber, it'll get you there. And if you even go to Yadkin Valley, they're pretty good. Like I think I ended up at their Chamber of Commerce or something like that, and you were there, and it was
Oh,
great.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
We're also, we also
Um,
have a lot of wineries up here.
I'm sorry, what?
We have a lot of wineries up here, so the region's kind of, yeah.
Winery.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just turning out to be the best field trip. Tapestry Weaver South, wineries, classes. What more could a girl ask for? Michelle Sonnenfeld, in the fiber used in rag rugs, a purchased product, and is it yarn-like structure or like strips of fabric? For your green rug on the wall, it looks like it must be very fine, unlike what I'm commonly thought of as rag rugs, which is more like doormats I see. And I had the same thing. You must have you have narrower strips for that on the wall, right?
For the green, that is not recycled, that is purchased, so I'd have all of one color. Yes.
But how wide were your strips? Do you remember?
Well, maybe 1.5 inches.
That wide?
Yeah.
Wow. I want to see that rug.
You have to come visit. Have a
I
glass of wine.
know.
Yeah,
You're just up the road.
just up the road, not that far.
Oh, here's Natalie Drummond. Hi, Natalie. Just
Hello.
wanted to say hi to Leslie and how much I enjoyed being a guest instructor at Yadkin Valley. I'm looking very forward to coming to the center later this month, taking a class myself with Beth Ross Johnson. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And love the resources that Yadkin Valley Center is offering. Well done.
Thank you, Natalie.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
And we've got some more questions here. I got to get to them. They're coming in from everywhere.
Oh, no. Oh, good, I guess.
Yeah, this was a good question. This is from Julia Blake, and she was asking about creativity. And she said, can you talk about the role of art and creativity in your weaving practice?
In my weaving practice.
How do you approach creativity, the creative aspect of your work?
I think from the creative aspect, it comes more through color and color inspiration. So, like I pull a lot from the farm. I have some photos. I've got one of a little toad beside I can't remember, it's a little pink flower. And one of the samples has those colors in it. So I'll pull my colors and, creatively from what I see around me, most definitely. I'm very color challenged, I feel. I have to really work. I've gotten much better at it, but I'm very color challenged. But that's it. A lot of us are. So yeah, that's really where I pull most of it from, because I'm a very project oriented person. I'm a very functional minded person. I'm going to weave a bag, a jacket, a rug, where some people are more creative and might do something sculptural or something more for the artwork on the wall or something like that. I think of myself as more of a functional type of weaver, and there's a place for everybody.
That's one of the things I love about fiber art, is that you can be on either end of the continuum. You can do very fine art, put it on the wall, or, at either one. And not one, and then the continuum is not good and bad. It's just different functions.
There's a lot out there. A lot.
Well, let me ask you about how you design. Do you sit down and draw it all out? Do you put it on a computer? Do you just sit down and go?
I don't think I would say I sit down and go. So the one thing that the master weaving program really taught me is that importance of sampling. So I do a lot of sampling now, a lot more sampling. I used to think it was a pain in the rumpus, but I get what I want now. Whereas I don't know if when I hear people say, oh yeah, I wove it and it came off stiff, and I'm thinking, well, you should have made me sampled. So I do a lot of sampling. I will envision it and write it and draw it out on a piece of paper. It's a new design that is created by structure. I'm going to put that on a computer program and kind of play around with that to see if it's going to look like I envision it once I put it on the loom. So, but a lot of it's kind of just done on some scratch paper. And then I do a record, Jean, so I have it later.
Well, which software do you like?
I have Fiberworks.
Okay. I know someone's going to ask. They always do.
Yeah, Fiberworks. Yeah. So
would you do a class on Fiberworks?
No, I'm not that efficient at it. I mean, it's truly that's the last stage. I have envisioned it, drawn it out, then I might put it on there. It's my last stage. I'm not that efficient with it. So, but definitely, and I have Pixie Loom too. I kind of like Pixie Loom on my iPad. It's pretty quick. It's real easy, user friendly, but it has a lot of limitations. So Fiberworks can take you a lot farther.
What do you think you would be doing if you weren't weaving? I mean, you're so creative. I could see you going a variety of directions. Where do you think you would go?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what I would do if I didn't have weaving. I mean, it's so much of my life, and I mean, I go places because, I mean, I do so much that's related. I would guess that I would be following some other craft, doing something else. I mean,
Would you be a photographer?
I don't know if I'd be a photographer, maybe. I don't know. I did have a stint of painting barn quilts for a while before I did a lot of weaving. So I dabbled with that a little bit, and I worked in glass. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine not weaving, and not. I mean, I just never even thought about it.
How can I not weave?
How can I not do that?
Well, who were some of the people that influenced you? Who were your inspirations as you were starting out? I know you had some wonderful teachers, but other than them.
I've had some wonderful interactions with weavers who just came in and shared. And I have to say that Leslie Colleen, she's in Complex Weavers. She really encouraged me to push myself. And I think she gave me and she's why I joined Complex Weavers. And she gave me the encouragement to go for it. She says, you can do it. You know, we all learn. And I found that, you know, I can show up anywhere and say, I don't know, and people are going to share, just like I would share with them. I mean, so I guess she taught me not to be intimidated, because that was way back in my days of Sioux Sari when I was saying, please get that carded so I can do this. So yeah, she really encouraged me. She was probably a really big, and of course, Kay, my friend that gave me the loom, was very supportive. Of the adventure. She wasn't a weaver, really. She didn't do a lot of weaving, but she was very encouraging. So, and then, you know, once I started the Fiber Center, it's just like everybody I've met's been encouraging. You know, they've all been supportive.
Well, somebody, just to cause some problems here. What was the topic that you wanted to do for masters and they talked you out of it?
It was on reeds. It was on reeds and the density of reeds and the effect when you're weaving and the history of reeds. And we quickly realized that I would have a really hard time with that research. That was
not enough, too much, not enough information, or too much information, or?
No, not enough information, and I don't have the skills to maybe go into that type of research. And so this was in COVID days too, so things weren't as accessible. And one of the other ladies in the program, Michelle, she did some research with reeds, and she was suited for it 100%. You know, it just wasn't where I needed to go. But I was really interested in how set in the reeds can affect the appearance of your cloth and the denting and the spacing, either far apart or cramming. So yeah. So I haven't done anything with that. Probably won't.
You're sitting around doing nothing all day long, Leslie.
Yeah, that's right. Probably won't go there. You know, if it had been my topic, it would have been my topic.
Well, while you were in masters, or I guess any time, did you have any aha moments, like maybe when you first started, did you have an aha, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do? It sounds like everything was pretty gradual though for you.
It was gradual, but my big aha moment, I can't remember if it was in level 1 or level 2 at Olds. And, you know, and I say this now when I teach, I say, you know, when you're threading the loom and you're going 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 and 1 are side by side. I had never connected that dot until we were doing something. And I was like, oh my God, they're side by side. I just had never connected that. And it was quite hilarious. But, you know, I just mentally, 4 was back here and 1 was up here, and that's just how it was. And I never even, you know, even when I was weaving, I just never, I don't know, just one of those things. We all have our little thing that makes it click. I was like, oh my gosh.
So I've been there for that, Leslie. I
Yes,
really do.
yeah.
I've always said that most workshops I go to, the aha moments are nothing to do with the workshop.
Exactly.
It's either something I've heard from someone else, like, you know, if you put this on the end of your string, it'll, you know, something like that. But
that's the other fun thing too, is seeing how, as weavers, I think we all have the same problems with, you know, and same challenges, but we approach it so differently. It just is resources. It's, you know, what's in our backyard. You know, it's just really interesting to see how people approach and solve, especially tension problems. I think,
yeah.
yeah, very, very different approaches, and getting the looms ready. It's just really interesting. I think that's one of the fun things. I really like to see how people do things differently in workshops.
Are you a front to back or back to front?
I know how to do both. I like sectional working, and I just got a warping wheel, and I am in love with this warping wheel because you can just wind off. It's an AVL working wheel, and you just wind onto it, and then you just wind it straight onto your sectional beam. Part of the reason I got it is I have to do a lot of warps for the master weaving program, and I was like, I've got to get more efficient with this. And so I just got that.
For all of us chickens out here who have a sectional loom and don't know how or refuse to learn how to use it, can we come see you and you show us how?
Oh, sure. I'd love it. We'll just have a sectional day. Yeah.
I have this beautiful Leclerc sectional. It just overwhelms me.
You would, once you start using it, you'll love it. I mean, even if I'm doing a short warp and winding on front to back, I'll use the sectional and just use the sections. You don't have to.
Okay, we're up to like 5 reasons why I need to come up there.
Exactly. You've got to come up.
Okay, everybody. Road trips. We're all going to Elkin, North Carolina.
We'll make sure the streets are clear.
Warn the police. We're coming.
That's right.
Leslie, I've had so much fun today. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here. I do appreciate it. I know you're a busy, busy woman, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with us and share with us everything that you're doing.
Thank you so very much. It's been a privilege to be here, and I appreciate it. And thank you, Dee Dee. I so appreciate your sponsorship.
This is Leslie's website, her personal website. And if you want to go there, it will take you to her business website also. And if not, Google Yadkin Valley, YADKIN. And it's in the chat also, if you're interested, for those of you who are asking. And we do want to thank our sponsor, Deidre Greer, DD, as I hear we're calling you. Thank you so much for sponsoring Leslie today. It was so much fun. I'm sorry you weren't here, but at least you were watching, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. If you want to sponsor Textiles and Tea or your guild or your business, please go to our website, weavespindye.org, and you can go to the area that talks about textiles and tea, and there's a place there that you can click on and sign up and sponsor if you have a particular date you want, or for a particular person or whatever. So check that out at weavespindye.org. I want to thank everybody who, I'm jumping ahead here. Spinning and Weaving Week, woohoo, how can I forget? It's coming around the bend. We are like less than a month away. If you haven't seen what's available, go look. We've got some incredible classes, Art Sparks. You can sign up for those. They're $10 to $20, depending on the length of the class and what's involved. Some of them are just watching and you learn that way. Some of them are hands-on, so be sure you check those out. We have vendor booths, we have thread talks, we have panels, we have the fashion show, which is basically show and tell. It's not just clothing, but we want you to sign up for that. We had so much fun the last few years of everybody showing off what they've made. They've made everything from shoes, that was hilarious, to scarves and dish towels. We want to see what you all been working on this summer. So come join us for that. And it's a great deal. It's 7 days. The whole 7 days is $25. And if you can't see it all, because some of us work for a living, we can't do that. It's available for 90 days. You can watch it anytime you want. So again, Art Sparks, the registration is open now. So go online and you can sign up for the whole week. And then you can also purchase additional Art Sparks classes. I want to thank everybody for supporting Textiles and Tea, as I said earlier, or if you want to support any of the other programs, because things like Textiles and Tea and Careers in Textiles, Spinning and Weaving Week, all of those come from the money that's donated through Fiber Trust, through your membership, and sponsoring various activities, whether it's Spinning and Weaving Week, which we do have sponsorships left for if you're interested in doing that. So thank you so much for all you who've done that. Next week, I don't know if you saw my scarf. I wore it in honor of, you can tell it's indigo. Next week, we've got Roland Ricketts. If you're not familiar with him, check him out. He is like the king of indigo here in the US. He's at Indiana University. He's done some incredible work, and we're so excited to talk with him next week. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Happy tea.